Good evening, everyone. We request all of you to kindly wait for a few minutes. We'll be starting the session shortly.
Hello.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Sorry for the delay.
Ma'am, that's not a problem, ma'am. We'll be starting the session in a few minutes, if that's okay. We're just waiting for a few
Yeah,
more
yeah.
participants to join in.
Sure, sure. No problem.
Good evening, one and all. Ban Ki-moon, the former UN Secretary General, once rightfully said, saving our planet, lifting people out of poverty, advancing economic growth, these are one and the same fight. Solutions to one problem must be solutions for all. In today's world, it is important to align the spirit of bridging engineering and advocacy in climate action. This evening, for the eighth episode of Pro Talks by the IEEE Education Society Kerala chapter, we are honored to have Dr. Sneha Sadish Hegde, a distinguished scientific researcher, with us today. Dr. Sneha is one of the most prominent members of the IEEE community, contributing in various roles over the years. She is a highly accomplished professional and researcher with the extensive experience in electrical engineering, sustainability, and community leadership. As a postdoctoral researcher at Central Line and Captious SAS, she specializes in high voltage systems. As an IEEE leader, she has made significant contributions to the Climate and Sustainability Task Force and other initiatives, serving as a partnerships lead, communications team lead, and vice chair. Recognized as an IEEE CS20 in the 20s honoree, she demonstrates exceptional leadership in fostering innovation, advocacy, and collaboration to address climate challenges. It's our esteemed honor to have her with us to share her insights today on bridging engineering and advocacy, a researcher's journey in climate action today. Welcome, ma'am. As we commence, I would like to welcome Akshay R.S., Students Activity Chair of the IEEE Education Society Kerala chapter, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, Mr. Akshay.
Hello everyone, I hope I'm audible. I feel so happy to see you all present here today. I believe most of the participants present here are either engineering students or engineers working at various firms. As engineers, by definition, our prime motive or our prime purpose should be to solve the challenges that the world is facing at present. Though we have made a lot of progress and have made significant breakthroughs in a plethora of domains, including but not limited to healthcare, defense, and the educational field, to name a few, a still larger problem exists at the horizon, that is climate change. We as humans, our actions are largely responsible for the rapid change in the weather patterns that the world is facing right now and its consequent turmoil. So, definitely, it is our responsibility to find a solution to this problem, or at least advocate for the same, so that we can collectively work towards a sustainable future. But we can see that only a handful of engineers around us who work in spreading the message of sustainability to the larger populace. Dr. Sneha Sadish Hedge is one such exceptional engineer, one such exceptional researcher and exceptional advocate that I have ever known. As a scientific researcher and as a passionate volunteer of IEEE, Sneha's research focuses on advancing HVDC systems and eco-friendly insulation materials. Serving as the chair of the IEEE DEIS Women in Engineering, partnerships lead of the IEEE Young Professionals Climate and Sustainability Task Force, and vice chair of the IEEE Computer Society Students and Young Professional Activities Committee, her engagement with IEEE is extensive. She recently even represented IEEE as a youth delegate at the COP29 Azerbaijan, seeking to leverage strategic partnerships to advance climate action. So, without a doubt, she is the most apt person to speak on today's topic of bridging engineering and advocacy for climate action. So, on behalf of the IEEE Education Society Kerala chapter, I would like to extend a warm, hearty welcome to our speaker for the day, Dr. Sneha Sadish Hedge. I would also like to welcome all our dear participants and other fellow IEEE volunteers present here to this virtual gathering. I believe today's session will be both informative and engaging to everyone. Once again, welcoming everyone to the eighth episode of Proc Talks. And Dr. Sneha, the stage is yours now.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Hannah and Akshay. Thank you so much for the very warm welcome. And once again, sorry for joining late. And I'm really surprised that so many people joined. I was just telling Akshay before you guys organize this session that it's the end of the year. Are you sure that many people are going to join? He said definitely people are going to join, and they are really very interested. So I'm really glad that you all joined today. And this is a very interesting topic because I wouldn't call myself an expert in this a particular domain, but we are all in the learning process. So it's a learning process for me. And I would like to share as much experience I have or I had until now. And it would be great to have most of you on board and what kind of work that you guys are doing as engineers in your local communities. If you have any stories to share, maybe at the end, that would also be great. So I'll try to share a few slides. And if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to stop me in between. If you want to ask the questions, don't mind. I would rather have it as an interactive session than just me speaking over the next 40-45 minutes. Let me know once the screen is shared. Is the screen visible? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, ma'am.
I put it in the presentation mode. Is it okay now?
It's not coming the presentation mode, ma'am. We can still see the Microsoft PPT window right now. It's not in full screen.
So, I'll keep it this way. I'm not able to put it in this full screen mode for some reason. It's still visible, right? The slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, great. So before moving into how did I get into this climate and sustainability, I would like to let you know how I got into this research field. So I completed my engineering in India, so in Udupi specifically, and that is where I was born and brought up. And for the last 8 years, I've been in France. I moved here for my higher educations, for my master's, PhD, and postdoc. But before I moved there, just like any other typical Indian family, my family wanted me to take up engineering or doctor, but I was not really into the medical field, so I had only one option left, that was engineering. And but I was very keen in joining the electronics and communications field, and that was my majors during my bachelor's. So after my bachelor's, I was until the how to say the pre-university. I was very keen into engineering, but you know how this technical universities in every state they are. For example, it is very competitive, and I also noticed some particular pattern that you have. Some of them are pretty biased. In engineering, our technical university that we had in Karnataka, we had some kind of problematic, saying that students, for example, I was really motivated but when I got into engineering, what we noticed was, for example, you're doing a little bit good, but there's a lot of corruption in our education system, which is quite prominent, I guess, in most of the universities. So we saw that they usually flunk the students so that they get the amount that we reapply the papers for correction, right? So I literally lost at that point of time my interest in education, and that's how all I wanted to do was just finish my engineering. And I was still not clear about what am I going to pursue after my engineering. But when we were in the final year of engineering, our university made it a mandate that you attend all the placements. So in India, that is one good thing that I observe, which we don't have in the foreign universities or any universities abroad, is that the university get the companies to your university, and you get the placement drive. The companies come and visit the university. They see, okay, which branch students are good, or they hire beforehand. I mean, you have a job landed before even you finish your university degree, right? Which is a good thing. So I was selected along with many of my friends. The only reason I attended the placement drives at that point of time was for the attendance purpose. So we were strictly made to attend these placement drives, and that's how I got into one of the companies. So we were at the training phase. It was the company that I got into was HP. So even after we finished the engineering, we were at the training phase, and that's when one of my cousins who was already doing masters in Manipal University, he told me that there is a very interesting course. And Manipal University, they had a program where it's a 2-year program. 1 year, the first semester is in Manipal, and the next semester is in abroad. So it's a dual degree program. You get 2 master degrees within 2 years of program. So I thought that this was a very good opportunity, and you get to go abroad as well. So before this, I had never been out of home, and this was going to be my first experience. I didn't even stay in a hostel until I finished my engineering. So it was very interesting for me. And that's when I started putting hard work. When I was in the engineering, I topped my master's in Manipal and also here in abroad. So it was completely a new experience going to a new country, because France is not similar to India. Here, the language is different, the culture is different, and it's definitely not the same for everyone. Few people, they were really homesick, and most of my classmates. So how this works is the entire batch from India moves to France, and then you get to decide whether you want to get a master's degree. Similar to in India, you have to do an internship of 1 year. So either you can do the internship back in India or any country in the world. So there is no mandate as such that where you have to do your master's degree. And I was the only person who ended up doing the internship in France. The rest of my friends, they went to the English speaking countries. For example, Germany, it's not specifically an English speaking country, but people do speak English along with their own language, that is German. Other than that, people went to Austria, Netherlands, and US. There were many other countries where people moved out. But here, to get a job, to land a job, it's at least essential to know at least the basics of the language. And people found it very difficult to know the language. So after I completed my master's, for that, the internship that I did was in a research company. And that's how my interest grew in research. As an intern, I used to do a lot of laboratory work, and I saw how the research is, I had the first-hand experience of doing experiments, and I really started enjoying the work that I do. And I started in putting more and more efforts and staying long back, doing more experiments, and it was really fun. So that's when I decided I had a few ideas that I want to continue for PhD, but knowing that how this research life is going to be, I was really curious to continue my studies, and that's how I got into PhD. And so PhD, let me tell you one more thing. So throughout this engineering, master's, PhD, postdoc, not even a single time my expertise was the same. I've kept jumping from one expertise to another. My bachelor's was in electronics and communications. Master's was in embedded systems and instrumentation, control systems. And then the internship was in electrical engineering and little bit of the marketing side of the research field. And then again for the PhD, I came into this specific domain of cables, high voltage cables. And again, what motivated to pursue or continue this research was during the PhD. Here they organize summer schools, and you get to meet the researchers from different parts of the world. And it is not just the researchers, you get to meet the industry people as well. So there was this one particular instance in the first year. And when you say electrical engineering, it's a very broad domain of expertise. So I was working on one particular topics, and that was cables. And this summer school was specifically on high voltage field. And I could see PhD students from different parts of the Europe. So I was just wondering, wow, this is just crazy, because I was working on the macro level of the system, and there were people who are working on the nano levels as well. Like they are working on the chemistry of the materials. There were so many interesting topics going on. But it was only when we spoke to the industry people, I understood that how important is the research work that we are doing. It is not just that you are doing your research for 3 years, you wrote some articles and your work is done. No, it actually makes an impact. They tell us the concerns that they have currently in this, at this point of time. They say that, okay, let's consider a blackout they have because of the, in one of the country, this happened in Germany. So they say that, okay, 1 minute of blackout, but how much can it affect, especially in the hospitals or the areas where they actually need these kind of stuff. So that's when I understood that all the research and work that we do, it's not just randomly for just for fun. This is actually going to impact lives. You're actually making a difference in someone's life. So it can be a very small impact, but at least you're making a difference with the research and the studies that you have been doing for so many years, right? It feels good that your work or the efforts that you have been putting throughout so many years. People say that you have been studying for 10 years. What did you do? But it's good to know that your work that you have been doing is impacting the people of the lives. So my PhD was in electrical engineering. Akshay already told that my expertise in high voltage DC systems, dielectrics, electrical insulations. And the best part, I'll be very frank here, this was not at all my expertise background. And I've been really lucky with the mentor that I had, or the director that I had during my PhD, because he was very patient with me. He knew that I had a zero knowledge or experience in this field, but he knew that I had the motivation to study. So all that matters. Sometimes it's just for them to notice that you have that motivation, or you have what you require. They wouldn't mind taking someone who doesn't have the knowledge over someone who has all the knowledge, but if he's not good at working with the team, if he's not a team player. I've seen a lot of people right now who hire people in the company. They don't look for the soft skills or the expertise that they need for the work. Sometimes all they require is how you're going to mingle with the team. Do you have that, what it takes to work in a team? That is more than important, because soft skills can be taught. You can be trained. But working with the team, being nice to the people, empathy, these things that cannot be taught for you in the company, right? So even my friends who hire people in the company, they say the same thing. These qualities, I mean, the soft skills can be, all this expertise can be taught when you're in the company. We can train these people, but empathy and working with the team, all these things we cannot teach everyone. So that's one of the main things. So yeah, as I said, I was really lucky to have a very good mentor. He was very patient, and the first thing he told me was, no question is stupid. If you have any question at any point of time, please feel free to ask that question. So I trust me, I've asked him, maybe I might have repeated the same questions over the for a very long time, but he never hesitated to explain it again and again until I understood. So that's, I've been very lucky over there. And then I did my postdoctoral research in another university and company. It was a tie-up. So again, it was a great experience. And So how IEEE comes into picture. So as a student, I didn't know about IEEE, or for example, how you guys have a student branch chapter in Kerala. I never had that in the university that I was in back in Udupi or Mangalore. There are activities happening, but I never saw anyone talking about IEEE or the scholarships or whatever activities that is happening. It was only after I came here to France and I was doing my PhD, because we had to publish papers. That's how I got to know about IEEE. And I got my membership, which was free because I was a student from the university. Yeah. So the only thing that I regret after all these years, that why didn't we have all this information? Because now I'm part of Computer Society, DEIS. There's so many scholarships for the students, and I'm just imagining how many scholarships there might be there, comparing all the technical societies and council that we have in IEEE. It's immense the amount of opportunity that you have, and if you want to do something in the humanitarian field, they have so many other scholarships and projects that you can apply for. And I've heard people saying that we have so many funding for the projects, but it's just that we don't have people applying for the projects. So it just means that there is so many things going on in IEEE. It's just that sometimes the information doesn't reach the right audience. So we try to see that as much as possible. If, for example, I have some information, I try to pass it on to the people that I know. If I think that they can do this kind of work, I say that, hey, this is a project that is coming up. Would you be interested to apply? So yeah. So I believe that everyone must do their part of the work. There is no one is at a superiority level here. I've joined, you might have joined. I'm 100% sure that most of the people here might have joined before me in IEEE. But it's only the work and the motivation that you do, what makes you stand out of the other people, how you are making impact with the research or whatever, the education or the work that you're doing, volunteering. I've told this 100 times even to my team members. Whatever work that you want to take up, it should be out of your motivation and what is your intention of doing this work. We cannot be pushing everyone to do good work all the time. We can be there for you, guiding you for up to one particular time, but we cannot be there 24/7. You need to figure out why you have joined this and what is the intention behind the work that you're doing. So again, so I'll tell you, I joined IEEE as a volunteer. I started volunteering last year. It was beginning of 2023. I joined DEIS because DEIS is Dielectrics and Electrical Insulation Society, and the first position that I got in IEEE was here. I was selected as an European representative, and DIS was one of the last technical societies to reboot a young professional within the technical society, because for the other technical society or council, they had it for, I don't know, maybe a decade right now. They have had the YPs, but we rebooted it. It's been just 2 years. And I'm really proud to say that this year we also won the IEEE Hall of Fame award for the DIS. So when we rebooted this, I was really happy, to be frank, because I found this as a very huge opportunity. When I applied, I just thought to myself that the worst case scenario, they're gonna reject my CV. Yeah, I just applied. But then the president asked me to take up the Women in Engineering, because unlike the other technical societies, DIS is very small. We have hardly 1,900 to 2,000 members. And day by day, we have less young people joining in these kinds of field, electrical engineering or high voltage, dielectrics, electrical insulation. We don't see, even if there are, they aren't really joining the IEEE or the whatever work is happening. So we want to motivate a lot of young people to work in this sector. So even IEEE Young Professional Climate and Sustainability Task Force was started last year, because last year's president Saifur Rahman, he was also very much pro towards climate change, and he had started the IEEE climate change. We had a lot of activities that was going on. So it was also one of the motivation to start this. The chair of this committee, Sajid, he has been working with the UN and all the uh, related fields for the past 10 to 15 years, and he was telling us how that they have been talking about starting this committee for the last 4 or 5 years, and finally they were able to do it last year. It was not easy, to be frank, because you need to prove your worth as a new committee that have but and one more good thing was we were quite independent of what IEEE is doing, because thanks to, of course, Sajid, he had the contact since he had already been working with the international agencies and the UN people. We were able to get a good hold of the contacts, and we have been consistently working with them. It's not just organizing 1 or 2 events. We got to know that it's very important in being consistent in whatever you do. So that's how we started this committee. So when this committee task force was started, they were looking for climate specialist, sustainability specialist, and another one was a communication specialist. So when I applied for one of the position, I was wondering what does it mean to be a climate specialist? I was like, I cannot call myself a climate specialist or sustainability specialist. So I found it safer to apply for communication specialist, and that's how I started. I thought maybe I'll do the comms work, and that's a safer side to join the team. I'm going to explore what exactly they're doing, or what is the mission and vision of the committee, and accordingly you can move, right? So I started handling partnerships. Other than doing comms work, I started handling partnerships internally and also externally. So it was a great experience. So yeah, so that's how we started the work last year. And last year we had the opportunity, but getting into the spaces like COP, it's very difficult. IEEE itself is an NGO, and when the IEEE gets the badges, it goes to our senior members. So hardly anyone really bothers about the young professionals or students. So we need to manage our badges ourselves. So last year we didn't get that opportunity. We had very few people who got the opportunity to go there. But this year we had 4 people, which is not bad. But even then, most of it's not just IEEE. We see that most of the youth constituencies that we have around the world, they struggle. The youth who have the badge, they don't have funding, or the people who have funding, they don't have the badges. It's really, really difficult to get the youth into these spaces, and for them to make understand why is this space important and how they can make a difference. So I just made a few slides. I'm gonna maybe so understanding climate and climate change. I think by now everyone has seen the effects of what climate change is doing around the world, and all the extreme temperatures, or the whatever that is happening, cyclone, or or the floods that you had in Kerala recently, right? So this is not normal that we have this frequently. And how this is impacting for example, the domain that I'm working in. Let's say for the past 40, 50 years, since I'm working on cables, high voltage cables, you lay an cable and you say that this cable, okay, you need to monitor these cables, but you're good to go for the next 40, 50 years. That's how it used to work maybe for the before. But now it's not the case with the changing temperature and weather. These cables have a lot of losses. The properties of these cables are changing, and we have to do a lot of work with the how much with what high temperature we can this can resist, or we are doing a lot of other tests as well. So that's how it becomes somehow. When we talk about climate and climate change, it is not just about the environment. There are a lot of topics where you can help as students and young professionals. I keep telling this to so many YPs, and we also had so many topics of discussion, even at the COP29. How you can help It's not necessarily that you go to these big conferences to make an impact in this climate and climate change. There are so many other topics. It can be education, how you can educate people around you or make them understand why this is important and why contributing or starting right now, it's very important. Most of the people don't understand. They still feel that this is just some random thing that people are talking about. No, and I recently spoke to some of the students from the Brazil section, and they know the problems that they have in their community. For example, they said that they don't have clean water to drink, and the solution was within them. There was one of the students who was working on purifying the water. I said there are so many funding opportunities that you have. If you have, for example, I saw one of the proposals where I think it was a HTB proposal, Humanitarian Technologies Board. There are a lot of sustainable development goals. So if you qualify one or two goals of SDG, and if you work with the local communities, you can just one member of the people who apply for this funding has to be an IEEE member. So you can come up with a lot of ideas. And one more example that I will give you is one of the students that I met before COP28 last year in Dubai. And this particular person was from Jordan. And we had no idea that people from IEEE were already present there. It's just because we were having a panel discussion, and that's how when we were asking questions, he just said that, hey, I'm from IEEE and these are the kind of projects we are doing. And he told me about one of the projects that they did. It was just great. Very simple idea. It's sometimes you just realize that you don't need to invent or create new things. You can just use the ideas that have been already implemented, and you can make so much of difference. So their idea, what they had implemented in Jordan was running the cycle. They are creating, they are generating electricity for the nearby refugee camps. Even if it lights a bulb, it's a great thing, right? So it's a very simple project, but it's making so much of difference for the people who are staying in that refugee camps. It might not mean a lot to us, but imagine for the people, it might be a huge thing. So yeah, so these are some of the examples. I just realized how with the work that we are doing, we can make an impact. And one more example that I would give is my own team member, and she's based in Ghana. She's from Ghana, and she's in high school. She recently graduated high school student, and right now I think she started her engineering. I was just impressed the amount of maturity that these people have at an early age like this, because most of us are take it for granted because we have good education, we have good food, or at least we have food to fill our stomachs, right? Most of the people even don't have good clean water or food or education. They don't receive this quality education what we are talking about right now. We should consider ourselves lucky because we are here, we are able to pay the membership fees of IEEE, whatever the reason might be. But we have that shelter, food, and whatever we need, quality education. And these people don't have. And I told these people that come up with a community project and we will fund that project. And the project that she came up was, there is a very small village in Kenya, and she wanted to give education to the female high school students because she realized what are the things that they lacked as when she was a student, and she didn't want other people to go through the same thing. So you realize that she went through these things and she didn't want others to go to the same thing. So I was just wondering that sometimes maturity, it has nothing to do with the age or whatever it is. It's just the situation or kind of things that they go through. They take up the projects like this. I don't think I would have think about something else. Wow, people at some corner of the world are having problem with the basic things that we already have. So we should consider ourselves lucky. So yeah, so these are all IEEE people where they are making an impact at a local level, community level. Again, you don't need to travel to another country or don't need to travel to conferences to make a huge difference. What I'm trying to say is, if you want to make a change or make a difference, you can start it from your own local community or where exactly you're part of. So there, again, this Paris Agreement on climate change was signed in 2016 at the COP21, and they have high expectations on certain things has to be achieved before 2030. And what is this Paris Agreement on climate change? They want to limit the global temperature to less than 2 degrees Celsius. So we have already attained around 1.5 degrees, but in terms of energy, they want to triple the amount of renewable energy, double the energy efficiency. There's so many things that every COP, when it is held, they see that they attain certain things. They want to attain certain level of targets to achieve those goals, to align the financial flows in the world. For example, the COP29 that was recently held last month was mainly concentrated. It was called the Finance COP, but at the end they were quite disappointed with the amount that was promised. So again, all the promises that are made at COP events that happens at the end of the year, the UN framework convention on climate change, they make sure that these people who have promised things at these kind of conferences, they withstand to what they are saying. It's not just that you come here and say that I'm going to pledge so much and this and that. It's not as easy as it seems, because recently I was attending one of the conferences. It was for clean cooking in Africa. Even in India, some of the places we still use wood, or people don't have clean cooking facilities, and it can have particular impact not only on your health, but at the same time the environment as well. So they pledged around billions of dollars. So these countries, governments, ministries, and big companies, they came together saying that we are going to pledge so many millions of dollars and blah, blah, blah. So it seems, so this is the first time that I was attending this kind of event. I never saw that people coming together all of a sudden and they are pledging the amount, the money so quickly. I was like, wow, if people can come forward, if everyone comes forward like this to solve the small amount of problem everywhere, I mean, this problem would be solved, right? And I just came outside the conference room. I was trying to talk to since I'm leading partnerships, I was trying to contact few people to see that how we can get more spaces for the youth people in the different events on different parts of the world, right? So there was this minister from Madagascar, it's one of the countries in Africa. So he was like, what do you think? The people who are pledging so much inside, do they have money in their pockets? No, they are just, they're just promising things. You don't know when this will be delivered. So all these promises, again, it takes a lot of time. It's not impossible, but it will take time. So you're just trying to understand things, that whatever pledges are being made, at the same time, it gives you hope. But yeah, we need to do this, but we are still far from reality, what has to be attained. So Paris Agreement, again, it provides framework for financial, technical, and capacity building. What are NDCs? So nationally determined contribution, it's an information which reflects the targets, policies, and measures. So each country prepares their own NDCs. India might have certain level of NDC which can be different from Sri Lanka or the France. They might have different kind of goals that they might want to achieve with the NDCs. For example, in India, they might be concentrating on floods and droughts. For France, it might be something else. So every country is tackling their problem in their own way, right? So every country has to communicate this updated NDC every 5 years. So maybe the updated one, it will be in 2025. And again, after 5 years, you have to update a new NDC. And the best part about this NDC is either you are consistent with what you are showing in your NDC. You cannot degrade the level of the change that you want to see in your country, you always have to upgrade the NDC. So that's, I think, one of the best thing I've read. Are the NDCs on track? So 193 countries or the parties have issued the first NDC as of 2021, and 151 has then communicated an updated one. But there is again a lot of problem. Developing countries, they have lack of finance. So many people are talking about improving so many things, but if you consider a country, developing country, where they have problem with as I said, clean problem or food, do you think they're going to bother about climate change? No. So it's when you talk about climate change, there are so many things that are priority for some countries. So you cannot blame them for not, implementing these things. If you don't have food on your plate, would you bother about climate change? If you are going to die in 30, 40 years, or would you rather prefer dying in 1 year with no good food or water? So the priorities change according to the country. So that's why I'm saying that NDC, it's not same for all the countries. And most of the time it's a lack of finance or the political commitment from the country that they are in. For example, France, they have the NDCs. When they submitted the new one, they concentrated on certain things. The first one was the greenhouse gas emissions must be reduced by 40% by 2030. And as I said, renewable energy and energy efficiency, this has been a huge topic since the last COP28. They want to attain around 11,000 gigawatt. I might be wrong with some of the numbers, but yeah, it was around 11,000 gigawatt what they want to attain, the renewable energy. And in terms of adaptation of electric vehicles, France government have started a lot of incentives where people can buy EVs very easily. They have a lot of advantage. So these are the some ways how government can help adapt these kind of things. Forest and land use, adaptation and resilience. So these were the few of the topics that France wanted to concentrate on in their NDCs. So what is the role of IEEE in all of this and how we can contribute? So Paris Agreement, in total, it has 29 articles, NDCs, mitigation, adaptation. So I'm not an expert in all this. So there are people who in our team who know about mitigation, adaptation. So what we IEEE can help the most is the Article 10, that is technology. So how to enhance technology development and transfer to support climate change, mitigation and adaptation efforts. So this is a few of the examples that I had when I was talking to people and what kind of problems they have in climate change and sustainability. It's not really easy. It's I would say it's a very tricky topic, but at the same time, people want to contribute, but you want to understand first what is your need and what exactly you want to contribute from your side. They're not asking you to do, I don't know, invent a new thing or do something out of the world. Just try to see what already exists and how you can help start from your own community. So please, if you have any questions, I would be happy to take up it. Any questions?
Kindly feel free to unmute yourself or make yourself available, dear participants, through the chat box for any queries regarding the topic or in general as well to our speaker.
I try to be as quick as possible because I can keep talking on these topics and it's always going to be a never-ending topic. Yeah, Hannah, go ahead.
Okay. And I'll just wait for the others as well to pose a question. But I know, ma'am, you've already mentioned a few things about the question that I'm about to ask, as you said before. But as I said, now there are a lot of people who come up with new technologies, yes, to stay sustainable and at the same time bring in economic feasibility, but at initial stages, sometimes it might be costly. Now, we are trying to bring in technologies that are both economically feasible and are sustainable as well. But I just
Yeah.
wanted to know how it can reach to all the sections of our society, especially in India. I'm pretty sure now there are people who are well known, who know more about this field, are able to easily navigate through that or find easily solutions easily, even when they construct something or when they do daily things or through their daily practices. But when it comes to people in a lower economic class or people who are not aware about how to navigate through this, how do we reach out to them? That is one question I had.
So it depends on what exactly you want to contribute. So do you have any example on what exactly I mean, you might have some idea, right, since you're already talking about this.
Maybe what comes to my mind is maybe waste management or something like that. Now, maybe I've seen people who are well aware of that and they are launching technologies or they are in a business area where they can, sustainably recycle waste and use it throughout their house. But at the same time, I've also seen people who are not aware of that and they are following a usual method, which again might be problem to the society. So how do we reach out to those people who are not aware of it?
You're talking in IEEE or how to say, the people in general in the local community? How?
In the local community. That is what I would say.
Local community, I mean, I would say that when, for example, in India, back when I was in India, I know that we didn't do any, for example, the segregation of waste. That never happened. But now when I go back to India, for example, the municipality takes care of their region, right? They say that put the dry waste and the wet waste separately. I know most of the people, even after doing this, there might be few of mix-ups, but at least it has been started in the municipalities and they are taking care of it. For example, here in France, they make sure that the waste are segregated. For example, we have the organic waste goes separately. The for the glass waste have a separate bin, and then all the recyclable ones go separately. All the cartons and plastics, recyclable ones, you have to do it separately. So it again depends from country to country. If you're thinking in a way that this is not my responsibility, this is the responsibility of the government, this is never going to change. If everyone has to take their responsibility, start at home itself. That's what they say, right? For example, if you do some mischievous thing at school, your teachers will ask you, would you do the same thing at home? No, right? So that's why start at your home. Tell people that why is it important to do certain things. Maybe they'll see you doing it 10 times and then they'll also start doing it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else who would like to pose a question? Please feel free to ask your question through the chat box as well.
I have a good example for this, Hannah, because I've seen, for example, it's in Netherlands, I guess. If you, Netherlands or Germany, I don't remember, if you recycle the plastic, it gives back you a certain amount of money. It can be cents. Let's say, for example, in India, if they start that if you recycle one bottle, you get 1 rupee. It's a good thing, right? So if they can start in that way to motivate people, why not? At least from that perspective, people start doing that. It's a good initiative. And another one in, I think it's South Korea, they don't have bins anywhere in the public. And if they see you throwing anything anywhere, they will fine you. And you have to buy certain amount of plastic bag through throw your plastic waste. So people try to reduce the waste that they have. And for example, my friends here, the organic waste, they keep it at home. They use it as a manure. They don't throw it away. They do this manure thing at home itself. So there are a lot of ways how you can contribute or start doing this. There are most of the communities in India itself. They, for example, these building colonies. They take the responsibilities of the buildings that they have and they start this segregation of waste. I think there are a lot of ideas if people want to implement. It's just that it's all about motivation and what exactly you want to do. It's you can't really go on pushing people to. They need to realize that why is it important. People like throwing waste outside. They wouldn't do the same thing at home. They just need to realize that what they're doing outside is also their responsibility. We can't keep taking responsibility for other people all the time. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have any questions?
Hello, ma'am. I
Yeah.
do have a question, ma'am.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, as volunteers of the IEEE Education Society Kerala chapter, we work towards disseminating the ideals of STEM and promoting education to all people without any restrictions on or age or whatsoever. So, ma'am, with your extensive experience in the academy and climate change, do you think there needs a transformation in the present curriculum, or from the educational perspective, do you think there needs to be a change in the education system for more people to be sensitized about what climate change is, and how more people could be attracted to this bandwagon of action? And ma'am, do you have any suggestions for us as the education society to implement towards the same?
It's definitely capacity building and making people aware of it is very important, because that's what we realized even after starting this climate and sustainability task force. We realized that the important part is making people understand the importance and capacity building. It is very important to educate people on this topic, because no matter how much effort you're going to put, if they don't know the importance and the value of it, there is no point in doing all these things, because you'll end up doing all these things alone. So you will definitely need more hands on deck, and for this, people will need to understand the importance. Um, Maybe you can start an education series on how they can do it in the local community. Maybe you can ask the people who have already implemented this project in their local chapters. It can be, that's what I'm saying. When you're talking about this climate change, one thing that I realized, it's not only about climate change. And it's very easy for people to, people from the developed countries, just they come here and say that, oh, you people in India, you're doing that and this, and we don't do all this pollution things. But their country has been there for last, I don't know, 250 years. They've been developed for a very long time. They can't ask a developing country to immediately do a change by giving money. That transition is very important. It is very important for the people to understand why the transition is happening, and you cannot forget the people in the process. So definitely the education system needs to bring that change. And we know, at least I know that how outdated it is. No matter it is in terms of technology, it has to be updated. At least the technical universities that we have in our state is I don't know if it has been updated by now, but I think it's still outdated information, whatever they have. Um, the education system needs to bring that change. But at the same time, when we were in the school, I think most of them knows Greta Thunberg. I've seen that girl doing so many protests, and every people show it in a different way. I knew about UN conferences and these kind of spaces back then, but even I didn't take it seriously. I just saw a random girl screaming and doing protests. But now we understand the importance, because we are seeing the extreme effect of the climate change. If we don't start doing anything right now, it will be definitely very late.
Thank you so much for the answer, ma'am.
Yeah.
Continuing, I hope all the queries have been answered. So, on. Now, I would like to request Tinoch Thomas, the signer of the IEEE Education Society Kerala chapter, to please do the honors of capturing this memory for us through a virtual photograph. I request all our participants to turn on your camera. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have a question in the chat. Hannah, can you please read it? From Ebin
Sure.
C.
Sure. Apologies. Okay. Uh, Abin CS has asked, EV vehicle development requires a large amount of energy that will require a number of nuclear plants in order to produce. So promotion of EV vehicles by some countries to reduce emission of conventional vehicles is good or bad? Ma'am, that was his question.
I think it depends on the country itself, on how developed they are, or for example, I know that here government is motivating a lot for people to adopt to EV vehicles, but at the same time, they find it very difficult to, even after having all the, it's not just about having the EV vehicles. What about the infrastructure that is required for the EV vehicles? You know, I was just telling my father itself, he was talking about getting EV vehicle or whatever it is, Tesla. Do you think our Indian roads or infrastructure is adapted to that vehicle? I mean, getting those cars, or it's not a big thing. What about it afterwards? What are the after effects? So how are they gonna sustain these vehicles, right, after getting them? So that's what I'm seeing. The infrastructure here is much more updated compared to the developing countries. So it will take time, but I think we are also getting there. I was just in the COP. There was an example from Hyderabad, I guess. They were able to implement good number of infrastructure for the EV vehicles. Now they're planning to expand it outside as well. So you can take an example from each city. So each city should concentrate on how exactly they are developing their place, and it's not just the responsibility of the government. I think I was just yeah, India's electric mobility leadership. A lot of companies are working towards this. They are by 2030 they are planning to have 30% of new vehicle sales to be electric. So 80% to be 2 to 3 wheeler, 40% of buses, and 30% to be private cars. So they want to do a lot of good things, but getting that infrastructure will take a lot of time. So again, the second thing, I've just added the group WhatsApp group chat of the IEEE Climate and Sustainability Task Force. So we have two groups. First group is already full. We have around 1,025 members. So we have started a second group. So this is not just for IEEE members. We have people from all over the world and from different youth constituencies. We have, you should know that IEEE YPCSTF is one of the fourth biggest youth constituency in the world. Other than that, we have the UN official Yango youth constituency, and then we have the BRICS youth constituency. We have the SDG 7 youth constituency, and IEEE YPs are known as the one of the four biggest youth constituencies that we have in the world right now. So if we have any opportunities related to fund or opportunities, we will be posting it in the group. So you feel free to join if you have not joined yet. And we have several other groups based on the your area of interest. We have people working on green hydrogen. It can be energy modeling. There are different topics, AI, machine learning. And right now, next year, we will there will also be a new task force that will be started, Innovation Hub, which will be similar to the Climate and Sustainability Task Force. It is going to be started by one of our members of Climate and Sustainability Task Force, but it will be separate from the CSTF. So Innovation Hub, again, it's going to be very interesting. I don't know what exactly are their plans. So if you are interested, keep your eyes open on whatever opportunities that we have. If I have any news, we are going to post it in the group, or you can reach out to me. We can let you know. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
As Snehal, this is Dr. Yuvraj.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Uh, I was the past chair in education society, student activity chair
Yeah.
in Kerala, but now I have moved to Tamil Nadu.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Okay, really excellent presentation, very short and informative.
Thank you, sir. I mean, there's so many things to. I mean, if we keep talking, we can talk so many things. And I mean, I literally tell everyone that I'm not an expert, but only when we get into this kind of discussion, when we talk to more and more to these kind of people who are firsthand experiencing these kind of problems, that when you realize that this is actually an issue, and we should consider ourselves lucky that we are lucky to be here. And when you see people having problem having, as I said, quality education, and there was also one of this topic we had in COP29, that how, for example, when it comes to the job, how are you gonna it should be equal for all the youth. For example, we are getting quality education in India, especially Kerala is known for it. It might not be the same case for the people in Africa, the developing countries. So you cannot have the age barrier as a qualification for the people that at age of 30 you should have good education when you are joining the company. So every country or region, it should there should be some parameters which should be different based on their background, or whatever problem they might have, so that people are not left out. Because I saw that in these kind of conferences they say that, okay, we are calling for youth speakers, but they should be less than 30. What about the people above 30 or even younger than that? Most of them might not have that opportunity, that by 30 they have this opportunity of getting good education, or they might have attained it up at 35, or some of them after. So I gave them an example of our IEEE YPs itself, young professionals. We don't judge the young professional based on the age. It's from your first degree. You can achieve your first degree at 45 itself. So from your first degree to the next 15 years, you're a young professional. So I think that's how it should be done for the all the youth in the world as well. I think IEEE is setting a good example, and it's high time that we make it relevant to everyone as well.
Yeah, sure, sure. Thank you. Actually, I was active volunteer in Kerala. Now I have moved. I'm a professor in biomedical engineering. I have moved to Tamil Nadu. I'm starting from the base in Tamil Nadu colleges. Uh, and I would like to get your details, that WhatsApp group and other informations opportunities. And in
Sure,
Tamil
sure.
Nadu, actually, Tamil Nadu we have a lot of problems. We have to start from the base actually. The student, the people awareness, and in fact, you were talking about the hygiene food and the environment. First, we have to make them understand about their lifestyle and in and around. And again, policy makers also having problem. Education system also having a lot of problem. So I have started to work again in the active volunteering in Tamil Nadu. So I need your contact details and the WhatsApp group details and all those things. I think Akshay will be helping, and
Yes,
I
yes,
think some of them are Albin, Akshay. I think I know those people. We were working together in Kerala. Akshay
yes,
is
yes.
there. Hi,
Akshay has,
Akshay.
yeah, yeah.
Hel-
Here he's.
Hello, sir. I
Hi,
hope with
Akshay. How are you?
ma'am's permission, I'll be happy to share her contact, sir.
Yeah, I need the details, contact group, WhatsApp group, all those things.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Snega. Thank you very
Yeah,
much
yeah.
for your informative session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions. As earlier, now I would like to request Tinoch Thomas, the signer of the IEEE Education Society Kerala chapter, to please do the honors of capturing this moment for us through a virtual photograph. I request all of you to kindly turn on your cameras and give in your best smiles for the photograph.
So everyone please turn on your camera. Okay, smile, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanuj. Uh, a feedback form will be shared in the chat box after the vote of thanks. I request all participants to kindly stay back. The certificate will be distributed based on the same, so kindly remember to fill it out. As a token of our appreciation, we would like to present Dr. Sneha with a virtual memento as well. I request Sinoj to kindly share the screen and present the virtual memento to ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanoj. Next, I invite Anjal P. Dijo, student representative of the IEEE Education Society Kerala chapter, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the IEEE Education Society Kerala chapter, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you for joining us for the 8th episode of Pro Talks. A very special thanks to our speaker, Dr. Sneha Sadish Hegde, for sharing her incredible life journey with us. Listening to how she navigated her path, overcame challenges, and eventually found her way into a PhD program and her current domain of work was truly inspiring. Dr. Hegde, your experiences and insights have deeply resonated with us. To everyone who joined us today, thank you for being a part of the session and for your active participation. Your enthusiasm and curiosity are what makes events like this so impactful. Lastly, a big thank you to the organizing team for their efforts in putting together this wonderful session. Once again, thank you to our speaker, Dr. Hegde, and thank you all for making the 8th episode of Pro Talks a memorable one. We look forward to seeing you at our future events. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Anjal. We have posted the feedback form in the chat box, and with that, we conclude our session. Uh, Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for spending a valuable time with us today and sharing your insights. We hope our participants have also found it valuable and enjoyable. Please remember to complete the feedback form posted in the chat box and receive your certificates as well. Thank you all, and thank you, ma'am, especially for your active participation and for your presence and for contributing to the success of this event. We look forward to bringing such events to you in the future as well. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming.
Say, Akshay,
Unfortunately, I think he has left the meeting. I have informed him of the same.
okay, okay. Anybody, any others who's known me?
So we couldn't hear what you were saying.
No, anybody's there who know me, Dr. Yuvraj? I am speaking, Dr. Yuvraj.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
sir.
the past
Sneha
chair
here.
student active. Student Activity Chair, Education Society, Kerala. Okay. I think
So I've asked Akshay to contact personally. I guess he has a commitment which came in urgently, so he'll be contacting you directly. Um, we
no
will
problem, no
be
problem. I have his number. I'm having a regular contact with Akshay. No problem. Thank you very much. Anyway, nice to have meet you all, see you all once.
same here, sir. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, ma'am. We'll be ending the meeting shortly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.